Hello and welcome to Complexity Limits Guide for the Heroic Sludgefist encounter, written and produced by Crzypck in coordination with Complexity Limit, presented by Herman Miller. Sludgefist is a single phase encounter. This is the DPS check fight in the raid with some important positional requirements. The fight occurs in the same room as Shriekwing did, with the 4 pillars still present. Let's jump right into how this fella is going to try and kill you. First up is Giant Fists, which causes each melee swing from the boss to also hit the next closest player to the tank. To handle this, you just need to have your tanks stay stacked on top of each other. They need to, pretend like they like each other instead of competing over who the main tank is. Falling Rubble will place a few swirlies near random players and then drop rocks from the ceilings on those swirlies. This leaves behind puddles of falling rock. This forces you to reposition throughout the encounter so you have space to stand, which will be discussed in more detail later. Colossal Roar is the boss shouting as loud as he can at you, dealing mild damage and knocking everybody back. Chain Link will put a chain animation around most of the raid and link people together in pairs. You and your partner will be able to see a visible red arrow above each other's heads. After 6 seconds, you'll become fully linked together for 56 seconds. If you move more than 12 yards apart from each other during that time, you both die. You and your partner will also be able to see a visible red orb above each other's heads to help you keep track of each other. Chain Slam will mark a player, root them, and put a red circle around them. After 4 seconds, the target and anyone within the circle will be pulled under the boss and take a chunk of damage, split evenly among everybody hit. Destructive Stomp is an AoE ability, which will show as a giant circle around the boss. This is a 4-second cast by the boss, and upon completing the cast, will deal a massive amount of damage to anybody within the circle. At 100 energy, Sludgefist will cast Hateful Gaze and mark one of the tanks. 6 seconds later, he'll charge at that tank, and keep going until he hits either a pillar or a wall. Anybody hit by the charge takes lethal damage. After coming to a stop, he'll be stunned and take double damage for 12 seconds. Additionally, if he hits a wall, the raid will get a massive dot and deals about 12k damage every 2 seconds and will wipe the raid. However, if he hits a pillar, he'll destroy the pillar and cause the raid to take minor ticking damage the rest of the fight, which ends up being no big deal. As such, you'll want to ensure he hits the pillar with every one of these charges. Lastly, when the boss reaches 30% health, he'll enrage, dealing 20% more damage and attacking 20% faster for the remainder of the encounter. You'll want to pre-assign your DPS cooldowns for this encounter. Players with 2-minute cooldowns should use them on the pull, on the second pillar stun, and on the fourth pillar stun. Players with 3-minute cooldowns should use them on the first and fourth pillar stuns. You'll want to save and use Bloodlust on the fourth pillar stun. Now, let's get into how to handle this encounter. You'll want to start at the front of the room where the boss begins. The range should be stacked together to help control where the falling rubbles will spawn. When chain links go out, make sure you're near your partner. Now, already being stacked makes this pretty easy. When the chain slam is cast, anyone with chain link should move away from the circle, and any players not affected by chain link should get in the circle to help soak. If you're chain linked and your partner is the target of chain slam, you better make damn sure you're in the circle or you're both going to die. When Destructive Stomp is cast, melee just need to get out of the circle. If you have chain link, make sure you and your partner stay together on your way out of the circle and on your way back to the boss. Don't be a troll and do something like charge back to the boss, instantly killing both you and your partner. Lastly, when Colossal Roar is cast, make sure the knockback doesn't push you back into any puddles. The most important parts of this fight, though, are positioning and managing Hateful Gaze. You'll start near the front of the room with the range stacked off to the side near the front left pillar as you look towards where the boss is when you walk in the room. When Sludgefist is around 80% energy the first time, he'll cast a Destructive Stomp. Your tanks should move towards the front left pillar when they run out for this, as Hateful Gaze is cast soon after that stomp ends. When the gaze is cast, that targeted tank just simply hides behind the front left pillar, causing Sludgefist to run into it, destroy it, and stun himself. After this first burn, you'll remain in the front of the room. The ranged and melee groups will need to shift as necessary so you aren't standing in puddles, but still remain towards the front of the room. From here, rinse and repeat. Like before, Sludgefist will cast Destructive Stomp around 80-ish energy, so the tanks should use this time to start moving towards the front right pillar. Have Sludgefist hit that pillar for the second Hateful Gaze, and nuke into him during the stun. After the second Hateful Gaze, you'll want to shift slightly towards the right side of the room. Try to still stay towards the front half if you can, as space allows. As his energy goes up, you'll likely need to start shifting slowly towards the back end of the room. You should have the third Hateful Gaze hit the back right pillar, by which point the whole raid will need to be shifting towards the back of the room. There's a lot of space back here, so utilize it well and move only as necessary for following Rubble. Pop Bloodlust during the destructive stomp right before the fourth Hateful Gaze is cast, and that'll ensure the Lust buff is up for the entirety of the stun. All of your DPS cooldowns should be available and used during that fourth and final burn. From there, you gotta nuke the hell out of the boss and kill him before a fifth gaze is cast. If you do not kill him before the fifth gaze is cast, you wipe. Good job, and now let's move on to the last two bosses. Thanks for checking out our video. Now that you know how to kill the boss, be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel for the rest of our guides, kill videos, and a whole lot more.